Hello and welcome back to the Gold Advantage. After a week of trash talk between Vulcan and Isla, the grudge match between EG and Flyquest finally happened, and EG handed Flyquest their second loss of the season. Does this cement EG as a contender for champs? On the other side of the standings, 100 Thieves make some changes in their coaching staff after a very disappointing mid-season. They have 5 matches left, 2 weeks. It is do or die for them, and there's a real chance they won't be making playoffs. I'll be discussing this and more with my man, BigMoneyBlivs, who is back with us. How are you doing, man? Are you bringing those big money plays?
The biggest of the money. Unfortunately, this week they were a little bit of loss, a little bit of win. I knew it. I bet Golden Guardians to beat Liquid, like the most obvious play. The odds were outrageously in Golden Guardians' favor. Like they shouldn't have been that high.
Outrageous. It was. It was a good bet.
It was a good bet. I don't regret it, but at the same time, I knew it. The moment that Liquid won that game, I went and bet TSM the other side. Because I was like, there's no way Liquid was going 2-0 this weekend. There's just no chance.
For sure. No. Well, I mean, that's a really smart bet. I'll give you that. You know, that's a variance play. At the end of the day, the value was on Golden Guardian.
But I feel bad for Golden Guardians because like they would have won had I not bet them. So
it's true.
It's too bad. Look, you know, to Scoot's point, I think that this is the first time that you and I can remember where the LCS is like competitive, right? I mean, like, sure, Flyquest is the top team, but then like it's, and I'm gonna rank these off, right? Wins 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, right? Like other than Immortals and Dignitas, right? Everyone's kind of like right there.
I think we've had it before.
We've always had a gatekeeper. It was like 6.
Sure, but this is competitive in a bad way. I'm with you on the top 3. I think Golden Guardians as a dark horse in the 4th place, totally there. But CLG, TSM, Team Liquid, and 100 Thieves, no one's competing with them. They're competing for how can they lose. I mean, none of them are even positive on their record. Sorry, CLG is.
So don't besmirch my beloved CLG.
Everyone else is sub 500. Everyone else is sub 500. So it's not I don't think it's a great look that 60% of your league,
50%. 50% is under 50%, right?
Sure.
And that's what it should be, right? Like that's kind of how things work. My point is there's no massive gap disparity, right?
Everyone is like one game.
I mean, you said it, right? We have 5 games left in the spring split.
Every match matters.
Team Liquid could end up 10-8, right?
It could.
100 Thieves could end up 10-8.
Yeah.
Look, it makes my heart warm and glow to no end. I called 100 Thieves being shitty at the beginning of the year, and I will continue to ride that, and I'm sure I'll mention it more than once this podcast. But like having 2 teams that are perennial powerhouses in a place where they won't even make playoffs currently, both of them are sitting at 5 and 8.
It's huge.
Is awesome. I love seeing Golden Guardians. I love seeing CLG right there. It's like, this is what we want. It's fantastic. It's going to create immense amount of drama over these next 2 weeks. And so that's what I'm looking forward to. And like, that is unquestionable, right? I hear you. It's not necessarily competitive, but it is like dramatic. It is dramatic. Yes.
No, but from a storyline perspective, it's fun. It's fun. It is very much so. And it's nice to see Golden Guardians kind of back at that top after they gave us the 100 Thieves core back in the day and the upset run. And I could see them doing that again. Maybe they won't win, but can they cause a pretty exciting upset? Maybe. And that would be really cool to see. I think going down, like you said, you know, finishing 8 and 10, I don't think that's ever gotten you into playoffs. So there's a real chance that TL or 100 Thieves don't make it. And if for them to make it 9 and 9, that's 4 wins on the side of 100 Thieves and TL. They both need 4 wins, 1 loss. And we'll look at the schedules coming up.
Correct. Schedules are not looking good.
Schedules are not looking good, and these are teams that have made. I think TL made a certain strategic decision. I don't know if it was an expensive move, but it was a move for a Korean team, and it's not working. 100 Thieves, they shelled out a lot of money to bring in, and they lost their core. A change needed to happen because they had been coming in that second place for too long.
Are we doing this now?
I think we do it now.
Let's do it now.
So they've now, in the last 8 games, they've gone 1 and 7. That's abysmal. And as a result of that, they've decided to release their head coach Cass. They promoted Nuke Duck into head coach role. I'm okay with that because at the end of the day, I do think the coach deserves some of the blame when the team is just not delivering. We see it in traditional sports. It's the way it goes. However, and this is where you jump in.
The reality is you don't spend that kind of money going out and getting Bjergsen and Doublelift. If you're spending the money on Bjergsen and Doublelift, kind of like two
Veterans.
Not just veterans, they're like also coaches, right? These are two people who are like captains of the fucking Rift. These guys know what they're doing.
Winningest players in the LCS.
You want to scapegoat the coach all you want. Be my guest.
Yeah.
The reality is you fucked up. You shouldn't have brought Bjergsen back. You shouldn't have brought Doublelift back. Like, I'm sorry. He's got great history, but the reality is this team, I said at the beginning of the year, this isn't the team that you go and win a championship with. And what do you know? They're sitting in 7th place, tied for 7th place. And in all likelihood, like, guess what? Their schedule's not getting much easier. Like, they're gonna have a hard time.
I 100% agree. You can scapegoat the coach. I think he probably shares some of the blame. How has he been training the rookies? You can't look at the rookies. Sometimes they pan out, sometimes they don't, and they need time to develop. At the end of the day, this team was built around 2 people.
Totally. Yes.
And they kept one person. Closer, he's delivering. They built it around 2 people, Bjergsen and Doublelift.
Yeah, correct.
Mid lane is the most crucial role. What's the second most important role? AD carry. And they brought these 2 guys in, and they're just not delivering. The biggest thing here is you don't have a backup for Bjergsen. Fine, he stays in. You have Unforgiven sitting in your substitute position. AD carry, he was great in Europe last year. Decision needs to be made. It's not working with Doublelift.
Here's the 5 games that they have left, right? In no order. They got Dignitas, win. That's guaranteed. EG, loss, most likely. Golden Guardians, win, loss. That'll be a fun game. I'm actually looking forward to betting on that. Immortals, win. And then TSM, which is, again, like... So the 2 games, like, I guarantee you they're going to go at least 2-1 based off of what I just said.
Yeah.
So they do have the potential to go 4-1, right?
They do.
If they can get it against Golden Guardians and TSM, but to me, like, GG,
always
TSM...
had that.
Yeah,
They've
I mean, to me, that's a 1-1. Like, 3-2, is 3-2 going to get it cut? Are they going to be a 8-10 team and slip in? Like, I don't know. Is that what you thought you were signing up for when you brought back Doublelift? No. The answer is no.
Something needs to change because the team is not working.
My perspective on this, CLG put the fucking coffin right in the or the last nail in the coffin. And I loved it. I loved every second of it.
There you go. EG Flyquest. Big grudge match. A lot of trash talk between Isla and Vulcan. Scoot and I thought Flyquest would roll EG. Instead, it was honestly very one-sided on the opposite side. I will say, I don't think it was the bottom lane. Like, it's Vulcan and Isla, so everyone was looking down there. I don't look at Isla as being the problem. It was much more Vikla. They were really focusing on the mid lane. They did a great job of picking on Vikla. I did not, and to be honest, I also really didn't like the Talia draft pick. It just didn't work, and it got punished really hard, and they ran away with it. I mean, 19 kills to 6. I will say, for how dominant it was definitely EG favored. I don't think actually Flyquest at any point had the advantage. They did a really good job of playing from behind.
I don't want to think too much. I don't want to read too much into this, right?
Yeah.
I love that EG came. I love the banter, right?
Yeah,
I love Vulcan.
that was so good.
Yep, so great. Maybe I am giving too much leeway to our beloved Flyquest in this capacity. It still feels like they're just kind of like testing out a bunch of different characters, right? Sure. And that they're like, in a similar way that we always talk about G2, like they're not getting too bogged down in like just repeating, being super predictable. And so I think they're still trying out different champions and different combinations and seeing how it works. Against a team like EG, that's a great time to test. Like when you've already got like basically the first place locked up. Yeah, I need to see them finish this split off with at least. I would like to see them at least 15. I'd like to see 4-1 over that stretch.
I think that's reasonable to expect from them. I want to actually then spin us to EG. What do you think of them? Because they had a bit of a lull. They came out pretty strong at start, bit of a lull in the mid-period where they looked pretty shaky. They actually won some games that really they should have lost. Then they came out in the match that matters, and they won it well. And pretty decisively.
2-0 this weekend.
2-0 this weekend. Obviously,
Yep.
Flyquest is the big matchup. EG have come out, and I feel like they've come out fairly strong.
Yeah.
In this match, and as I always say, you want to be paying attention to where teams are finding their groove.
Yeah.
When you look at someone like CLG, I was very critical of them. I had real issues with them at the start of the season. Now they've actually kind of found their groove, and we're going into playoffs. I'm like, actually, they're looking solid. I think EG is very much the same thing. For a little while there, it looked like EG was second best team. Then they lost their groove, and Scoo came in here saying that everyone's fighting for third place. Now they found their groove again. I actually think the whole team looked pretty good in that win. Someday was looking solid in the top lane. He looked very coordinated with the rest of the team. Bot lane was looking good together. FBI is performing well. Jojo is just pulling off Jojo things. Sometimes amazing, sometimes ridiculous. It works, it doesn't work, but I love the energy he brings. If this continues over the next this weekend and then the Super Week next week, they are really coming in as a threat in playoffs.
Yeah.
And a win over Flyquest like this shows that as good as Flyquest is, that they're fallible.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think EG is a team that we always kind of perennially at this point keep in that top 3-4. Yep. The thing that you said, and I was looking through as you were talking, is CLG. This is a team that they have only lost to one team over the past 3 weeks, which is kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah.
They've played, there was a Super Week, Week 5, and Week 6, right? They've played Flyquest twice in that span. That's the only team they've lost to. They've beaten Team Liquid. They beat 100 Thieves. They lost to Flyquest. They then went and beat TSM, which is a great win. They beat Immortals, to be expected. But then they beat 100 Thieves again, and they lost to Flyquest. Like, this is a team that's kind of like, look, I think you're going to understand why they lose to Flyquest. I'm not picking CLG to win at all. But, like, this is a team, I mean, look, I will give you my bias. I absolutely love Dakla in the top lane. I think he's
been doing well. He's been great. Big Doc.
So fantastic. And this is a team that, you know, right now they're currently at 5th, but they're playing like a 4th place team to me. I would love to see this team kind of get into 4th and give themselves a first round bye.
Yeah, it's viable. And we'll get into the matches shortly.
Important weekend for EG to see where they are, right? They were losing a bunch of matches earlier, right? They lose to Golden Guardians. They lose to Dignitas, right?
Sure.
Last week, not this past week, but the week prior. Then they come back. They beat TSM. They beat Flyquest in a convincing fashion.
Yeah.
So I don't really know where EG is, right? And with all of the stuff surrounding the org, this is kind of like a put up or shut up type of weekend, right? C9, they should beat them based on that performance against Flyquest.
If they beat Cloud9, that's then 100%
Huge.
we're saying that they are now the second best team.
And honestly, I really value if they can beat CLG. Like, I think we'll jump into the odds in a second.
I mean, I don't value beating CLG that much.
Well, I think CLG is going to beat them.
Okay. All right. That's an interesting one. I think I'll say, I mean, we'll jump into the matches. So, day one, Flyquest versus TL.
Yep.
A lot of the odds are terrible, but actually I have a -6.5 kill spread for Flyquest at 1.8. I think that's a good kill spread. -6.5, that's one team fight in a bit, you know, so like you wipe the team once, a little bit more. 1.8, I think those are just really good odds. I think we'll wrap up with the EG Cloud9 one. Next one, I really love, and I love this one. It's Golden Guardians versus 100 Thieves. I think Golden Guardians money line at 1.65. I still really like that. But the one I really love is, again, the kill spread. -4.5 kills at 1.83. 4.5 kills is nothing in a game. And so even actually, I lost a bet last week on Golden Guardians kill spread and on the Immortals one. I think that was 3 or 4 kills. So it would be really tough to... It's very rare to win a match with less than a team wipe. So I think those are two really good ones. Yeah. EG versus Cloud9. I like the EG money line because just coming off of... And the reason for this is the way they beat Flyquest was focusing on Vikla.
Yep.
And picking him apart and pulling apart Flyquest from that mid lane. Cloud9 has so many eggs put into this M&S basket, and we've seen him not... He's done well, and he's doing better, but I think when it doesn't go right for him, he seems to fall apart a little bit at the edges. So long as they can keep the bot lane even, and they can start focusing on that mid to top lane, maybe neutralize Fudge or something, pull apart mid lane, I really think they can beat them. The lines are perfect. It's 1.9 for EG and a 1.8 for Cloud9. So it's a very even line. I like that a lot.
Cloud9 has not been tested recently. They beat Dignitas. They beat 100 Thieves. They lose to Golden Guardians. They beat TSM. They
lost Liquid. That's the match. Golden Guardians is a big loss.
They beat Team Liquid. Yeah. They beat Immortals. They beat Dignitas. That's their past 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
With the one time they got tested.
But they've had the new player for the 2 weeks. They've had a new player for 2 weeks. So,
however, there's a lot of shit going around the EG org, right?
Yeah.
And like that creates distractions. I will admit my bias. I usually like taking better odds than not as good odds. And so in a match like this, where I think it's truly going to be a toss-up, I think Cloud9's playing a little better. I like 2.06.
Oh, you think they're playing better? I mean, EG just beat Flyquest.
I know that.
How are they playing better? I definitely think that EG's win over Flyquest...
I don't want to overweight that, though.
Don't know that I would pre-bet this. But I wouldn't pre-bet this. I would look at the draft... Because, again, I really think the Flyquest loss has a lot to do with Talia in the mid lane. If he doesn't have Talia, I think that changes things. I will say, if you're going on the Cloud9 side of things, their kill spread is minus 3.5 at 1.9. That's like minus 3.5 or 1.9 is actually incredible. So if you're really on the side of... If you really think Cloud9 is going to win, I think it's worth taking that. Because that's basically
minus... You're saying minus 3.5?
Kills at 1.9.
Why would I do that and not take the money line at 2.06?
I don't have that. I have 1.9 on the money line.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
I have 2.06.
Okay, well your odds are way more skewed towards EG. Mine's 1.8 to 1.9.
Yeah, I have 1.77 for EG.
Oh yeah, I have 1.8 on that.
Okay.
So yeah. So that's what I would look to do. I know we're not putting too much emphasis on the Flyquest match, but at the same time, the way they won it gives me a lot of confidence in them, or a lot more confidence than I saw before. I saw like a real strategy and a focus going in on it. I think M&S is very talented, but I do kind of feel like if you pick on him, he starts to fall apart a bit.
For other wagers?
Yep, go. I'm done for the day.
I'm not gonna lie, my confidence in Golden Guardians was shaken last week.
Really?
And like losing to Team Liquid was just like inexcusable to me, and so. Seeing 100 Thieves at like 2.50, I know.
Yeah.
But seeing 100 Thieves with a new coach, maybe some fire lit under their fucking ass.
You just said, what do you mean? You said the whole thing about like double lift and Bjergsen being complete dead weight.
Correct. But here's the thing, right? So I agree with all that.
Okay.
But now you've given the scapegoat. So now the players are like, shit, I gotta fucking perform. We've used our only excuse. Coming up against a Golden Guardians team that is good, but not like exceptional. Mm-hmm. Again, 2.50. I just think you're going to see a little bit of fire underneath that 100 Thieves ass, and they're going to come out and perform. So I like 2.5. Again, I'm not going to go bet the house on it. I just think it's a good bet. I just like that value for that. With again, we talk about it all the time on Money Hell. The honeymoon period is real. These teams get something new. It just ignites them, and they get a little bit happier. And then I really love a 3-team Flyquest, TSM, CLG moneyline parlay, which only pays 2.63. Mm-hmm. However, I don't see a fucking way in the world that those 3 teams don't win. Those
are famous last words right there. I don't know. Every time a parlay is a guaranteed win, it never wins. I don't know. Makes me sweat. That's all. Because it'll get down to the last game, and you're like, it's a guarantee. There's no way Golden Guardian loses to Team Liquid. Come on, look at them. They're on a 7-game win streak. This is easy money.
I don't think I was on this podcast, unfortunately, but I guarantee you I would have had, in a similar fashion, I would have had EG beating Dignitas. And what do you know?
Exactly.
EG.
There we go. So there we go. All right. next day's matches, these are all really skewed towards the favorites. So I've only got one bet for this day. C9 versus TL. Cloud9 minus 6.5 at 1.9. That's what I'd go for.
I know that I can see you on this podcast, but have you just embodied Scotty with his kill spread addiction and propensity for this? Like, what's going on? Who am I talking to?
I know. To be honest, it's like the overs and the unders. I think there's a lot of value in it at the moment.
I think to your other point, the money lines are so skewed that it's like it's not worth betting on. So you have to find something to bet on.
All season, the money lines have been so bad.
I really like the 100 Thieves kind of like 2-0 weekend. The fact that you can get 100 Thieves at 1.42 against Dignitas.
I actually think the Dig line, I'm kind of tempted by Dig. Dig got a win. Jensen is still looking great. I'm like, you know what? I feel like 100 Thieves are in a bit of shambles. They're 1-7.
Give me
1-7. That is
I will say
dreadful. And I can get Dig at 3.1.
Wow. I can only get him at 2.7.
Yeah, 3. I kind of...
At 3, I'd definitely take that. I will say, I'm also very much loving the idea of an EG 0-2 weekend. So not only Cloud9 beating them, but then CLG. Again, I know I mentioned to you, CLG hasn't lost to anybody in the past 3 weeks that isn't Flyquest. This sounds like a phenomenal opportunity for them to kind of prove that they're
I mean, I don't know about that. Like,
CLG
is sitting in 5th place. Fair enough. But
correct.
Golden Guardians, EG, Cloud9, you think they're going to beat all of those guys?
All I'm saying to you is that CLG
is going to beat EG. EG is going to have an 0-2 weekend, according to you.
CLG has got...
Like, when you put it like that...
CLG has got a better mid to late game rating than EG. So if they don't fuck up the early game too bad, and maybe this is to your point about seeing the draft... EG has the best early game rating, but CLG's mid to late is 7.3, whereas EG is a 2.4. So like there's significant volume there.
All right, perhaps. I'm not convinced. I think CLG is a middle of the pack team. I kind of maintain that since the start of the season, they made no changes. Everyone else kind of got better, and they've ended up right where they are. They're doing better than I did think that they would, but not that much better.
For what it's worth, you can get Immortals at 5.45 against Flyquest.
Now we're talking. I actually like the Immortals potentially upsetting TSM day one. I was like, I could see it. Maybe it's a tougher one.
But so I mean, for who have Immortals beaten so far? Hold on. Immortals have beaten...
What about TSM over against EG? 2.8. Over Golden Guardians, sorry. GG.
What is it? EG?
TSM over Golden Guardians, 2.8. I actually am surprised you haven't talked about it, because you said you're not hot on Golden Guardians anymore.
Well, I don't think... So I do think Golden Guardians goes 1-1 this weekend. So I guess to that perspective, you get 2.44 and 2.5.
Do you think 100 Thieves is better than TSM?
No. I definitely don't. But again,
I see BigMoneyBlivs is coming in shooting from the hip.
No,
not the sniper aim. So why why did you say the 100 Thieves game over the TSM game?
I gave you the reason. You got a new coach. It's the honeymoon period. Their ass is gonna be lit up. Yeah. I promise you.
He's the assistant coach. So he's a new old coach.
Correct, but again,
it's enough of a title. It's enough, yeah.
Exactly. The dude's got to come on with something new, hot and crazy. He's got to justify the new paycheck, the bonus.
Okay. Yeah,
you're gonna see it. You're gonna see it. I guarantee it. Lock fucking 100 Thieves over Golden Guardians.
I'm gonna write these down. We will see them. I think we'll see them next week. But these are important matches, as we kind of stated earlier. At the end of the day, these are a lot of these teams. When we run down the standings here, there is one game between Flyquest, Cloud9, EG, and then Golden Guardians, each one. So 11, 10, 9, 8.
Yep.
We're pretty... I would say these four are essentially a lock to make playoffs. But the seeding matters, and there's a real chance that good games from EG could put them in second place, which I think is a big win for them.
Yep.
Golden Guardians the same. If they have the right schedule, they can go into it. And we're going right into the Super Week. So... you really want to be paying attention to the teams that are doing better and better. If EG go 2-0, that's a team that we need to keep an eye on because they are weighted, I think, unfairly. And maybe there's too much weight on them or too little at times. I think them being favorites over Cloud9 is very much a reflection of their win over Flyquest, but I'm not entirely sure that that's accurate. So if you're Cloud9, you think Cloud9's better, you're getting really good juice odds on that one as a result of that. And I think that's what we're going to get in this last week. But this middle of the pack, every win counts. To your point, like, I might not be super hot on CLG going 2-0 and smashing everyone except from Flyquest. This sounds like Scoot telling me Cloud9 is the best team in the LCS. But nonetheless,
God bless Scoot.
You have a lot of these teams that are like, well, where are they going to land in the playoff bracket? Are they going to make playoffs? And how is it going to work out? So there's a lot at stake with this last week. And I think that's part of the fun. The matches necessarily haven't been thrilling, but I think the storylines and the narratives have been very interesting, and it'll be great to see how we go into the final week. I think that wraps it up from us. So if you want to wrap this episode up with a nice little gift, you can like and subscribe.
As we said, drama is guaranteed. I'm looking forward to this. These odds are too skewed. I like some underdog bets. 100 Thieves guaranteed against Golden Guardians. You heard it here first. But I'm excited, and to that point, it's going to make for a hell of a super week.
It is, and I think the crazy thing is like the marquee matches like EG Cloud9 are just as important as the crappy matches, because if Dig pulls out another win, if Dig pulls an upset win, or Immortals pull up an upset win,
everything into
it changes everything in the brackets. Totally. And I guess that goes to your point that start of this episode. You said this is such a close bracket between every single team, the one below them. One win, one loss completely changes things.
If you get Immortals or Dignitas giving an upset, like that could f*** your entire playoff chances.
Oh, massively. Especially for TL and 100 Thieves. Especially for them.
But even TSM I believe in Cloud.
If they have a bad week,
like, you get one bad week, it's not the right time.
And the thing is, you have a bad week this week, knock-on effects for next week, and then you have to suddenly go 3-0, and there's a lot of pressure on you to deliver that. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes.
And we know certain organizations do not handle stress in how they handle their players very well.
No. There is that. Absolutely. All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Check out The Money Hill, our sister podcast that covers the COD League, and we will be recording and releasing the LEC episode later this week in preparation for our spring split.
Did someone say upset?
Upset. Did someone say upset?
Did someone say upset?
There is a little short about that. I'll link it up here.
There we go. All right.
Bye, everyone.
Toodaloo.